Greetings all, and the purpose of this WebEx is to clarify how to use RScript interface or RStudio within DashDB. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and first of all, I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody who joined today. Um, Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and share. So I hit share screen. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to Bluemix-db. So what I did was I launched the RScript interface. So now, what you guys gonna do is, most of you have been able to load the tweet data, right? So if not, let me know. But so here I am. I'm starting from the home page. In order to run R, you would need to go here, R scripts, right? What you will need to do is you go here. You can either launch RStudio or you can use this interface. But first, you have to generate the data frame. So what I go here, I click on plus sign to create a new script. And what I could do is I could just pick the tables that I want to use, right? Like for instance, I can use UMUC tweets, for instance. It's gonna give me my columns, and I want to keep all, and I'm gonna hit apply. So what this does is it created a new script for me, right? So here it's calling the IMDbR. This is an R library that is used for reading data from the database and running methods on the data from the database. And here, this created the data frame. Well, of course, it might be, this data frame name might be very, little bit difficult, make it a little bit difficult to type, but you can always create another data frame as a copy, or you can rename it. So it's your choice. Now, so again, what I did was, I'm not gonna save it. I'm gonna do this now again. I'm gonna go create new script. Of course, I don't want to save it. I want to redo it just. Okay, I clicked on the plus sign to create new script, and I'm gonna select UMUC locations. Well, or actually UMUC tweets, because that one, it has more data. It has, see this, it has a lot of variables that I want to select here. And I want to keep all columns, and I'm going to keep apply. See this? So here, this is a library that it's calling, and this is a data frame. I know some of you have tried to do the walkthrough, but keep in mind that your data frame name is going to be different from my data frame name, because R is naming it for me. But what I could do is, I could do this right here. I could do this. I could say GF, and now here, this is an assignment operator, right? I could do this, and then it's going to make much more easier for me, right? So some R commands produce output, some R commands don't. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And if I want to preview the first 6 rows, I can do this. Head, df, right? Remember, the head command always to preview in the data, and by default, it's going to be 6 rows. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, right? So I already have a file called UMUC script R. So let me do this. Let me hit save. And I'm going to call it, I'm going to call this UMUC data analysis, right? .r. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hit OK. So, and make sure you get the message save successful. I hit OK. Now what I'll do is, if I'm lucky, I may launch the RStudio if I'm lucky. For some people, it did not work, but if it did not, you can still work from here, and you can preview the output in console output window. And here is where you're gonna see the plots, right? So, but actually, it may or may not display the plot in the window itself, right? You would need to download it. And I'm gonna show you what I mean. But first, let's see if we're lucky today. I'm gonna hit RStudio. And yes, I am lucky because it remembered my credentials. I may have selected to keep me signed in. Okay, so I need to wait for it to respond. Continue. Okay. So patience is a virtue. So here, as you can see, I still have here what I was working on. Now, look here, files, and this is where my script is gonna show. You're gonna look at the files tab, and this is a script that I just saved. Now, you also have sample scripts that come with an application in case you want to just go ahead and see how they write the code and see if you can. Oh, Mike, you said you can't get in? Well, understood. But if the RStudio does not work, I'll show you. You have an option to use an RScript interface. So that's fine too. So, but if this does work, you can do. See, here is my script. I click it. And here it will open. So how do I run the script? I can do this. I can just click like this. Run. Okay. Run. Alright. So I'm running it one command at a time. And the nice thing about R is there is more than one way to do the same thing. So here it is, and here is my data frame, right? TF. And what you could do is you could do different, you can run commands to do data visualization, or you could do the charts, and you could do the a priori rules, association rules. You could do different types of visualization. Almost anything that you could do with R. And if you're not sure what the certain function does, you use the help command, right? Help. And you just read here, it shows you what the function does, what parameters it takes, and so on, right? Please. What's this? Steve, what's your question? Steve, what's your question? May I ask you to say it because I don't really see the chat window.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, what is the R statement that would return only the tweets that have a sentiment polarity of equal to negative?
Oh, you would need to do you would have to load the data frame, right? You would need to load the appropriate data frame, and you would need to do the conditional statement. There is a way in R to return only the rows that match certain conditions, right? So what we would need to do is we would need to go back to the RStudio resources by topic in a classroom, and you would look up how to retrieve the rows only that match certain condition. And also what you could do is you could merge the data frames. And here is your best friend, Knowledge Center, and the link is posted in the classroom. And what you could do is you could just run the search here, and there are some examples on what you can do. Tutorial analysis with R. See this page? It's showing you some stuff that you can do. But a lot of it is also reading the documentation on how to see this merge. It's just an example. Here they do order details and product. In your case, you're going to merge the you're gonna merge the table that tracks positive and negative message. You're gonna use the message ID to merge the. You're gonna use the message ID to merge those two data frames. ID merge,
Okay.
or in your case, it's gonna be merge. I think you can. Yes, you can use this package ID merge, and you can use this IDA package. And I posted the link in the classroom where the documentation is. Yes. So there is more than one way to do it, and your friend is documentation and the Google also. Yeah. So you can run a priori rules. You can do a variety of stuff here. So what I did was before I wrote this script as part of just my testing. Oops. And what I could do is I could just run it and see what it does. Okay. So let's see. Run. This package rules VIZ. This always plot in the a priori rules. So what I did was I created new data frame, and I'll show you. Okay. So this piece was generated for me. So just go in and run this. And what I did here, okay. So what I did over here is that I created the frequency table. So I'm wondering if males or females do more tweets on my topic, and apparently I see more males. So you can do something like that. Or you can even do this. Message option within gender. So you have message, you can have post, and you can have share. Now here what I did was, this is also took some research on working with dates. I can just analyze when the messages were posted and when I had the most post. Okay, now remember the hash is a R comment. So I do run. Well, what it did, this one, oh, it just formatting the date. And now again, I have to run as date function because by default, somehow the data is a character. But if I want to use this as a date, I have to do as date. And here I'm just extracting the months and a year. And again, this stuff is in the documentation on how to use the dates. So now I have to run this guy right here, run. And this is giving me number of tweets per month. I understand that it's not sorted, but there is an order command that you can use to sort the data frame. You can use this, right? But I'm just showing the basics of what you can do. And here I'm just doing the bar plot. But before I get there, here is a pie chart. By pie chart, take the table command as an input. Let's run this. So this is the basics, and it's just showing me the relative amount of posts. I can do anything I like here, I guess. So now do the bar plot, and we do the zoom. Okay. So the first time I ran this, when I click on zoom, it gave me a warning, and you just select yes. Well, it's related to the pop-up blocker, I think. Now here, what I'm doing is I'm creating a different data frame, and look at this here. I'm taking a subset, right? So the way the syntax goes is you specify the range of rows, and here you specify the columns that you want to pull. And C stands for list. So I can do the column position, or I can do the column name. So I'm just creating the data frame DF. And here I'm just, okay, because remember, to run the a priori rules, all your variables have to be categorical. For some reason, it's storing this as a character, this one. So what I can do is I have to run it, I have to convert it as factor. Now, for the purpose of this example, I picked only categorical variables. If you pick numeric variables, you would need to run discretization. Discretization is a binning, and it divides the values into value ranges. You would need to run discretization. But it's something you might be interested in. You might want to analyze the number of posts, right? What are the demographics of a person who posts the most, something like that. But here I'm just running through this. Okay. Now, a priori command, it's going to generate the rules. Now you have several options. You can use commands inside the database package, or you can just run regular. By regular, I mean the general command that you would run in RStudio on your desktop. And for some reason, if you are unable to run RStudio, to run help command, you may just use your local version of RStudio just to run help commands, or you may use online. You may search R packages online to see what they do. So now I'm going to run. Here it is. So it's showing me the number of rules that it generated. And there is a documentation on a priori method and what it returns in the IBM Knowledge Center, and I think I've seen it. Yes, right here. So you just read through this, what support is, what confidence is, what lift is, and you interpret the results. So that's one way you can run analysis, right? And you can visualize the rules, and you can even go beyond. You can eliminate the redundant rules, but it's a matter of reading through documentation and being creative, right? So what I'm giving you is a starter, but if some of you aim to get an A, you need to go beyond, of course. So now here to preview the rules, I run inspect. There we go, here are my rules, all right? Here, what you would need to do is you would need to change the minimum length, because basically what's happening is I ran the method with default parameters, but you can change this. You can change it, but how to do that? You basically do this. You would need to look up the help command a priori. You just look up the help, and in here, I've even given you some examples. Yeah, so this is how you would do this, a parameter list, and you want to specify the minimum support. Like for instance, I want to see the rules with the support above this number, minimum confidence, and so on, and even minimum length. Minimum length means that the minimum number of item sets that I want to see in a rule for the rules to display. So right now it's not set. This is a blank. To eliminate these two rules, I would have to set the minimum to 2. I would have to set it to 2. Yep. So now, basically, lift considers if the left-hand side and right-hand side of the rule are dependent, and it's looking at the correlation. Lift value of 1 means that the right hand side and left hand side of the rules are dependent. You want to check the independency. Okay? So you want to, if you're doing the a priori rules, you want to interpret the results, and you want to mention why we need to look at more than one metric, right? Because confidence and support, they overlook the less frequent rules that you might be interested in, and also they're not looking for the independence between left-hand side and right-hand side of the rule, right? So you might want to discuss this part. You might even run additional metrics that are not displayed by default. So this is where you can go beyond. And here you can just plot the rules. Plot. There we go. And this is a more fancy graph. Of course, it's going to be cluttered because I have too many rules, but you can go beyond. You can eliminate the redundant rules again. Okay, so now if I've made any changes to the script, I would have to just save it. In order to be able to see my updated script when I go back to DashDB. Now, suppose that I cannot go to launch the RStudio, not a big deal. What I could do is I could just go in here, and this is my script. I'm selecting this, and you may want to do refresh because, you may want to do refresh because if you made any changes to it. Okay. So anyway, you can open, come on, oh, here it is. Sometimes it's taking its time to refresh. So what I could do is I could go back in. Let's see if that does it. Yeah, it's taking its time. But anyway, what I could do is I could just hit submit to run the script here. Okay, let's see. Sometimes if you go back and forth between screens, it does it. Still not. Okay. Maybe because I have it open in here. Or I can also do this. I can do... Wait, this is where you would see the output. And here is where you would see the plot. But instead of seeing the actual plot, you're going to see a little link that you would use to download the plot. Okay? Oh, here it... Nope. But usually when you select something here, it would show in this data frame. Let me see. So like I did here, I clicked and it showed up here. And when I click on this, it should show. Okay, so what I could do is I can go here. I can just do this Control A, Control C. I'll just do this right now. Control A, Control V. Okay, because I want to run this. I want to show you what happens when I run it. Okay, and I would strongly recommend saving this code also on your local hard drive. I would recommend doing that. So now, suppose that I cannot launch the RStudio, just forget it. I cannot launch it. So I go back here and I hit submit. That would run my script. It's going to run the whole script. And here I need to be a little bit patient. Okay, so the top section here is going to show me the output, and the bottom section is just going to show the... It's gonna show just the console commands. See this? So all my rules are in here. So which means I can still do my work, right? There we go. I scroll down. Here it just shows me what's going on behind the scene. It's attaching the package to visualize the rules. And there we go. I think I figured out why I was unable to load the script, because I had it open in RStudio. That's the reason. Okay. So here is an output which I can work with. And when you're taking a screenshot, what you could do is, this is one of my favorite tools. You use the snipping tools, and I just go here, new, and there we go. This is one way to take screenshots, and it automatically puts it in a buffer, and you just do this edit, copy, and then paste it to Word. So this is one way to take screenshots, and it makes them more readable. Now here I go to my plots, and take a look. I click here. It's gonna open the PDF file, and there we go. I see my plots in here. It's gonna put them in a file for me. I know it's cluttered, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna go beyond, and you're gonna eliminate the redundant rules. You're gonna adjust the minimum confidence, minimum support, right? And you're also going to include continuous variables, and you're gonna run the discretization. And discretization method is part of the rules package. It's in there. So, uh, some of you asked me if it's possible to install the packages. I was able to do this, but I used RStudio to do this. Basically, at some point, I was prompted if I wanted to install them somewhere in a separate directory. Because what it did here for me, it created the folder. What's wrong? It created the folder right here, R, and it installed them here. So because if I look back, I'm not sure how far this goes. It may not see that. It won't be able to see it. But I received a message which I had to confirm. And when I did it, it installed the package for me. I was able to install the package. I think somebody asked me how to install the, was it Snowball or something? Oh, another nice thing is here in the history. It keeps the comments for me that I ran. Yeah. If you save the workspace, it's gonna save everything that you ran or anything that you attempted to run. So basically what I did was when I tried to install the package, it prompted me if I wanted to install it in a certain location, and I typed in yes, and it did. So you can see that right here. This is right here, Word Cloud. I was able to install it yesterday. I was just lucky, maybe. But here are the packages that come with. These packages are built in, and there is a variety of stuff you can do with this. You can go to the ggplot, and you can explore it. Right? You can do the R part. This is for the decision trees implementation. It's also called recursive partitioning. And these packages are also available from the R scripts interface. You will just need to type in the library command. Library, and then you put the package name inside. Right? So you can still run all your scripts from this interface, and I think it's a nice solution, right? So script, this is where you type the script. Console output is going to show here, and here on the plots you would need to download this file. What you could also do this, I'm not sure if you have seen this, but if I click on rules right here, it takes me to the help page for this package, and I can just browse this and read about what I can do with this package. And I believe discretization method is in this package, discretize, right? So this is how you would convert the numeric variables to nominal. If you want to use your numeric variables, when you do the association rules, you need to run discretization. So for instance, number of posts, right? It's gonna create the ranges. For instance, post 0 from 1,000, number of posts from 1,000 to 2,000, something like that. But suppose that I cannot access RStudio, then you're gonna go to your local version and you're gonna run the help commands in your local version, right? So for instance, I want to do a pie chart. I can run it in my local version. I can read it here, and then when I'm ready, I go back here, and I can add this to my scripts. That's one way to do it. But this is also a nice alternative to work. You may like these examples. There are some sample examples that come in. For instance, here it is, customer acquisition, right? And you can even reuse some ideas. They're showing you how to run the different available methods here. And there is also an example on a priori, but they do it slightly different. They're using the database package here. Well, there is more than one way to do it. That's what I like about R. Yep. So you could reuse some ideas, but I want you to be creative. right? Because basically, if you reuse the basics that were given, and if you do it well, it's a B. But to go for an A, you need to go beyond, and you need to be really creative, and the work should show the understanding of what, and show the application of the methods to the data that you're analyzing. But this here is a good starting point. And also, you may find this IBM Knowledge Center very helpful. And the link is posted in the classroom. It's under the week 7, and I think it's DB resources. There is a link to this documentation. So you may want to look at the getting started, analyzing with R, and it's showing you how to use interface, how to use the R scripts interface, and even launching RStudio. If you are unable to load this, again, you can use this here. And to find out which packages you have, I think it's installed packages command. It's going to give you the list of packages that you have installed. I think so. That packages, yeah. Here we go. So you see that this command is going to give you the list of packages that you have available, right? So basically, we need to use packages that are available for us, right? And I think most of you are good with doing the queries. The hardest part for you guys probably is the R, right? So let's see what questions we may have. Do you guys have any questions that is as clear? So you think you would be able to do the assignment? I want you guys to ask questions. I like questions.
With the spatial data, we get the coordinates for the location. Do you guys have any suggestions for a script we can write to convert those to city and state?
What do you mean? Do you mean analyzing the geospatial data?
Yeah, it comes back with coordinates for the location.
Right, so what we would do is we would need to search this here. And there are some examples here, the geospatial data. Oh, here it is, analyzing geospatial data. Here it is.
Right now I'm working with the SQL. I mean, I guess I could just hold off until I get to R, but...
Yep. Well, you would just need to go through these. Oh. In DB. You would just need to see this. It's just showing you examples on how to. This is a geospatial data.
Right. Well, that's going to come back as a map, though, right?
Right. Right. Looks like it is. It would just follow this.
Is there a way to convert it to a data element based on city and state or country or?
Oh, when you load the data, it's going to create the table, right? I would need to see what the table looks like. Again. Yeah. Once I see what the table looks like, then we can see what we can do. So basically, this is your friend. And here is even the SQL part, SQL reference. And it shows you how to use SQL to analyze different types of data. So here it is. Yeah. But if you're working on a SQL, so let me go back here. Here is SQL, right? So you go to run SQL, that's what you've been doing, right? Yes?
Yeah, that's what I'm working in. I've already searched through the documentation to see if I can convert it, and all I'm coming up with is JSON code.
Oh, so for this exercise, let's focus on the Twitter data, because this is exercises on Twitter. I understand that we can do geospatial analysis, but for this specific exercise, let's stay with Twitter data. Okay?
That's the Twitter data. It comes back on the locations table.
Oh, I see. I see what you mean.
So,
the locations table. So let's see if we can load this. I'm gonna go.
Is a lot of my like a lot of my information is null, the user location and the message location.
Uh-huh.
But
That's what I was doing. I was analyzing the location data, in fact. Null, it means missing values. What you could do is you can use only the instances without, you can only use the records without missing values. You just create another data frame as a subset, right? And I think it's na.omit in R.
right, but in the locations table, all of the locations are there in coordinates. So what I was saying is if I can convert those, then I would have locations for all of my messages.
Oh, then you would need to do a join, I think, right?
Yes, but I need to convert the coordinates.
Into, let me see how the data looks like. So let me see it here. Locations table, right? So let's see, syntax assist. Oops. And which table, UMUC?
Locations.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Here it is. Uh-huh. Oh, okay. So now let's do this. Let's do the click, click, click. And where is the... There should be a button or something to apply this, right?
I believe
Let's see. Where? Where is that? One second. Oh, I have to scroll down, right? Well, there should be a button to apply this, but what I could also do is I can write my queries. I can always write my queries. So I can...
location is the one that I'm looking at.
Okay, so let's do this. How do we close this? Okay. Run SQL. I'm trying to close this. Yeah, I know. Sometimes it happens, and what we need to do is we need to be patient with this. Yeah. So, syntax. That's why I try to stay away from the syntax assistant. I prefer writing my queries. Let me see if FY does something. It's gonna refresh the DB. It's not what I wanted to do, but we need to be patient with this. And Mike, I saw your message that you are unable to connect to R Studios, and you're gonna use our script interface that I was showing to do the homework assignment. Yeah, we need to be patient here. Something happened. Here it is. Okay. So basically, locations, and I think I may have loaded them into R already. Let's see. Run SQL, loading data. I can just go in and type my query here. I hope I spelled it right. Okay. Oh, so here, you mean you're trying to... What are you trying to do? You're trying to parse this, right?
Right, to convert that into an actual location that's usable, since the other element of the tag is null.
Yeah, so you would need to use the R function to extract this, to parse this. You would need to use the R function.
Okay. So I'll just wait till I get to R for that part.
Huh?
I'll just wait till I get to R. I won't do it in SQL then.
Oh, you can do it in SQL. You can do it in SQL. You would need to use the substrings. You would need to use the substrings here. So take a look at this. So here we want to take the thing starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So you can use the substr function that takes the substring from the substrings from the data. So basically I can do this select, and this is what your user location, right? Mm-hmm. Oops. There is a substring function, and I hope it also exists in There is subster. And what it does is it extracts the part of the string here. So, and here is the user location. And what you do is you specify the position of the starting character. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's an 8 position, right?
Yeah.
8. And I want to take how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? And just an example. You would need to play with the string functions here. So now what I can also do, I can validate to see if my statement is valid. It did not show anything. Well, let's try running it. Let's try running it, see what happens. Oh, failed. So what I have to do is I would need to read the documentation and see how to do this because, oh, not authorized. Well, I would need to look at the documentation, but basically, okay. Because it's because the function names here are slightly different from Oracle. So what I would need to do is I would need to go back to in here and I would need to read my SQL reference. There is no, okay, here it is, subster. This shows me how to take the substring, or it could be a substring. See, the function name are slightly different. And the parameters are slightly different. So it's a matter of going back here and reading. Yes, it's a matter of going back and reading the documentation. Here it is. So you have the first name, it's taken starting from the first character, and it's taken the 2 characters. Right. So it's a matter of going, let me see, substring, right? So you would need to play around with the string functions here to do this. And again, there is more than one way to do it. And since I'm used to Oracle, right, I need to realize that I need to keep in mind that the functions are different. Well, it still failed. I would need to look at the documentation and see why it's failing.
It's not a big deal. I already managed to modify the file to pull this out. I'm fine with that. I was just trying to figure out how to convert the actual coordinate
right.
Something useful.
Yeah, so you would need to parse. You would need to take that value, and you would need to parse it. Mm-hmm. You would need to parse it, and then you would need to convert the string to a number.
Right.
But you would need to look up this IBM knowledge thing. And to find how to do this, you would need to look at the functions in here. Look at the string functions.
The one thing I found was there's a spatial expander, and that's supposed to convert it, but I wasn't able to find that within the Bluemix group of services.
Yeah, because basically the functions that we use here are different. The SQL might not be a little bit the same, not be the same. So I can do -db. Here is all -db documentation.
Right.
And I would need to, it's a matter of just going in here and digging through it. SQL reference, here we go. So I would have to look, going down. Yeah, it should be in here somewhere. So it's a matter of reading this subster. Yep. I might be just doing it a little bit incorrectly.
And it's not a big deal. Like that wasn't for me.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is just a matter of looking through here, and you would need to parse it. You would need to parse the numeric part of the string and then convert the string to number. And in order to figure it out, I would have to look through these and look through examples. Oh, see it? What it's doing? It's taking. It's doing this. The column.
The column that you're converting.
Right. Right. It's doing it a little bit differently here. So I would have to follow this.
And I think with coordinates, you'd have to have there's a certain format for them, and those coordinates are not exactly in that format. But I'm just trying to figure out this.
Right.
It's not a big deal. Thank you.
Yeah. So that's one example of going beyond, just looking through the documentation and using different functions, right? And you can also do the data aggregation in here. Yes. But Mike, so you mentioned several times that you are unable to, if you are unable to get into R, you just do this, analytics, R scripts, and you do all your R work in here, and this is perfectly fine. Yeah. So you just do this. This is my script, and you just run this. You just hear this. This is a script that I wrote. You can use this window to write scripts as well. You don't need to use the R Studio in order to write the scripts. I can just type it here. So what I have here, table, right? I'm doing it for the gender. And what I could also do is I could add another line in here, Control-E, and I can just only do message option. So what am I doing right now? I'm writing the R script, I'm editing it. And what I'll do is I'm just gonna save it. Save. Oops. I'll go here and do save. Right? I saved it. And now what I'll do is I'm gonna hit submit. That's how you run the script. I can work in this area right here. And in parallel, I'm looking up the documentation. And you may look up the documentation online, or through using the local version of RStudio, you only use it to look up the documentation. But all your work needs to be run in here, because it's a big data. Can you post the script? Absolutely. I will go ahead and post the script, absolutely. No problem. Yeah. Yeah. I will go ahead and I'll post this. Yes. You want to test? Sure, yes, you can test this, but keep in mind that you would need to change the names of the data frame, because what's happening is that it creates the data frames for you, right? And your data frame name is going to be different. So you can do the global replace. Yeah, you'll just do the global replace. Oh, okay, excellent. Okay, so what we'll do here is, Rima, I see you to just join what I was showing here, that the scripts can be run in this interface. So what I'll do is, here is my script. I click submit, and my output is going to be in the console output, and my plots are going to be in the plots window. But one of you mentioned that the area is empty because you need to download the PDF file. I understand that some of the examples, they generate the scripts in this area here, but again, in R there is more than one way to do the same. Here, the nicest thing is that you download it and you have a copy already, right? And you can just click here, and you open up the file, and here are all the scripts that I generated. I know that it's a little bit cluttered, but what you do in your assignment, you go into eliminate the redundant rules. If you choose to use the a priori rules, you can do anything. You can look up the time series analysis, and you can do the number of posts by month, and you can see in which month people discuss your topic the most. Perhaps if your topic is Christmas shopping, more likely October and November is going to be the months when people discuss the topic the most. And some of you mentioned that when you load the data again, you get different results. It's expected, because this is an example of data continuous in time, because people keep on tweeting, right? and the data that is being pulled is during a specific time frame, certain number of days from today. So this is the reason you get the different number of tweets each time when you rerun the analysis. Okay. So basically, again, your best friend is IBM Knowledge Center here. And in order to go beyond, you read about these functions. And yes, sometimes it takes a few times of getting an error message to figure out how to get it right. Yeah. So it's common, right? And again, if you do only what is given to you, if you do it right, and if you do the interpretation, that's a B. But to get an A, you need to go beyond. You need to be creative, right? And you, even if you have time left, you can even explore how to analyze this data in Watson Analytics. I was able to set up connection. So that's something just extra, or you may do it later on at your leisure. So here is the output, right? Here is my output. I would have to scroll down, and to scroll down, you use the down arrow on your keyboard. So here are my rules, right? I was doing a priori rules here. And in the bottom section, you see the method output. And you may or may not remember from data 630, some messages are just the output, some messages are warnings, and some messages are errors. Well, sometimes you may ignore the warning. It depends on what the warning is. And here, it will always do it. It will load these 4 packages. It's just how the implementation is. And this is a package that I loaded because I wanted to visualize my rules. So go up, see this? And again, to copy this, because if you just copy and paste, it may look a little ugly. I would strongly recommend using the snipping tool. Well, this tool is available in Windows, but I'm sure that in Mac there should be an alternative tool to do this. But you just do new, and you go like this, just drag. That's gonna take a nice screenshot, right? Because you want to make sure that I can read. I also read the papers that are submitted. You want to make sure that it's readable, right? So, and you want to also explore these sample scripts here, and you may want to reuse some ideas, but again, I want to see the interpretation. And here, this is your friend, because you can read on different methods that you may run, right? And also, there are some web pages that show you how, there are some web pages where there is a tutorial where they show you how to load data and so on. So this is another, oh, here it is, analysis with R. Here it's showing you basically an example of how you can launch the RStudio. Here is your user ID and here is your password. And you just click on Launch RStudio button and you sign in. Well, if that does not work, then you can just use the RScripts interface and you still do your work. But in this example, you'll find useful how to interpret the a priori rules. And also, there is a link to the video. You can click on this, and it's going to take you to YouTube, and you watch the video. And in fact, there is a whole DashDB channel on YouTube, and the link is posted in the classroom. So you may want to explore that as well. So if you go in here, right, so this is your session here. If you go under the content, you scroll down, here it is. You want to look at this here, DashDB resources, and using Arvis databases, IBM database, analytics. Here, this is a whole package manual for this one, this this package. It's a package that you use to read data from database. Here, IBM Analytics with R, right? It's a vignette on this package. Getting most out of DashDB. So here more articles, and you have a YouTube channel, you have a quick start guide, you have a overview, and you have a link to the documentation. Here it is, DashDB documentation. It takes you to the nice page where you can just search through the different examples and read the documentation. Getting started and how to use R, how to load your data, and so on. So it's a matter of reading this and picking up. That's how I build the scripts that I was showing you. I was reading through examples here. And also running through errors along the way, that's normal. Right, so it took some debugging as well. Yeah, here it is. There are some useful examples that you can just reuse. But again, you want to interpret the data. You want to get insight. What does this output show me? What does this rule mean? That's what we'll be looking for when we read the papers. You want to make sure that you know how to apply the concepts, right? Here it is. Yeah. So let's see if we have questions. Questions? I love questions. Questions? Oh, and also in the classroom you could find in general RStudio resources by topic, and there are some reference cards in there as well. So if I go back here, I'm gonna back to course content. There is a whole page that was created here, RStudio resources by topic, and it's broken down nicely for you. Loading data, working with variables, data pre-processing filters, and here there is also the important comments, and a short reference card. So if I click here, it's going to take me to this nice cheat sheet, and it's showing me some useful comments like NA or meet or something. Like I want to, or if I want to, for numeric variables, if I want to replace my numeric, if I have a numeric variable with missing values, I can replace the missing values with a mean, right? So there are some useful things here. So basically doing R scripts, it takes research, or you can go in Google, you type something that you would be interested to, and you can find what other developers did, and you can reuse the code, right? So let's see what questions we have. So I understand that a lot of, yes, after creating data frame, yeah, you just submit, yeah, exactly. So again, let me start here. When you start, you just click here, right? You click on the plus sign to create the new files, and you're going to select the table that you're interested in, right? You select the table here and you click apply, and it's going to create the new script. And you want to save the file, right? You want to save it, save, and here, well, I can just put, right? You want to use meaningful names, but okay, save successful. But suppose that I want to work with more than one table, I can just go here and I can do add data frame, and I can pick another table, and also I can decide here if I want to exclude certain columns. I'm just going to uncheck them. Occasions, right? And location, user location, I can pick that. But again, it's a matter of working with different string functions to parse the information out. Another thing to explore is if I can create a view, perhaps, right? Or if I can use my view to to actually, if I can use my view in R. Because if you're strong in SQL, you can do is you can create table. You can write a create table as select and put your select statement. That would create another table as a copy, right? And you can, in a select statement, you can have a join. That would make it much more easier. You would already have a table with all of the columns that you need. You can use merge in R, or if you think your SQL skills are stronger, if your SQL skills are stronger than your R skills, you may just create a table as a copy, create table as select, and then you put the select statement in there. Right, but when you do that, when you do create table as select, one thing to keep in mind is that if your original table had a primary key constraint, the constraints are not going to be copied over to a new table that you create. Right, so see this, your multimedia, I can do this, apply. And it added another line of code for me. So that way I don't need to write much. And I do save. Yep, I want to save it like this. And what I do is I just click submit. But here I'm not going to get any output because some statement, this is an assignment operator. It does not generate an output. So, well, see this, I have no output because I did not print anything to the screen. And here it just lists me this packages got loaded by default. But again, I have other packages available. And to see what packages are available, it's installed packages command, yeah, that you can run. But what you could do is you could do, for instance, summary. Summary command prints. It's gonna print me the descriptive statistics. But let's see if it works here. I can do this. Let's see, I'm going to run it. Oh, another thing to keep in mind is that when I rerun the script, the console output gets wiped out. So you may want to save a copy of everything that you want to save. So this is important to keep in mind. I hit submit. Here it is. This is the output. Now here, the output that I get depends on the variable data type. So here, length, I believe it's just the number of values. That's what length is. Yeah. So this is a little bit different because of the type is character. If the type was factor, I would get the number of that's called level. The number of values, right? It's also called level. And the number of rows that have each value. And for the numeric, I was going to get, it's a 5-number summary. The minimum, maximum, and the first quartile and the third quartile. Yeah, so that's a 5-number summary, yes, yeah. So basically now I see an output here because I ran the code that generates an output. Right? So again, what I was doing here, I was working from this interface. So what you could also do, remember the names command? Names command just outputs names of the variable. And I actually used it when I was using the RStudio interface. I use it because that way I can just copy paste my variable names when I was running when I was running the other code, when I was writing the statements to do the table and to do the pie charts, right? So you can keep on adding, and when you add something, you want to save it. Save. Here it is. Yeah. And the scripts that I wrote are going to show underneath. I need to scroll here, my project, and it's going to be here. Yeah. But to copy this to your local hard drive to copy this script, you can just open the notepad, you can copy paste this in the notepad. Yeah. Or you can just, yeah. There is at this point there is no option to save this to your local desktop. You would just need to copy and paste. But IBM, they keep on adding enhancements to this program. It becomes more powerful, and you can connect even from Spark. Oops. So, okay. Now I hit submit, and it's gonna add the output from names command. If I spelled it right. Oh, here I did. Yep. So this command, it output variable names. So, yeah. And then when I want to run and write another code, I just do the copy paste. I did that. So basically the difference is that here you have 3 tabs. You would need to navigate between tabs. It's just a slightly different interface, but it's also useful. You can use this to do your homework, right? So, Mike, did it address your question? If you're still here. Anyway, so, yes, let me see what questions we have. Don't be afraid to speak up. I like questions. This is an opportunity for you guys to ask questions. I know that I may have shown a lot of information in one session, but let me know if you found this useful. Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask a question? You know, when I created the data frame and I said end row data frame, I was getting an error. Is it because?
Okay, because the names are. Yeah?
Every time, okay, whatever you execute from the script, right? Let's say I created the data frame first, then I went back to reference the data frame. It wasn't finding the data frame. Is it because every time you execute the script on this page, a new session is created when you come into it next time? It doesn't hold it in memory?
When you come on the next time, you need to rerun. You need to rerun. Yes. Yeah, it's exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hold it in memory. The second question I had was, there's something called tables, right?
Table? Yes. Table will produce, you mean the table command in R?
Yes. What is the difference between data frame and table, and which is the better one to use?
Oh, use the data frame. Use the data frame, because the methods that take the data frame is an input. I see what you mean. Yes, there is a data type table, but I use data frame. But again, there is more than one way to do things in R. But yeah, when you start the new session, you need to rerun. It's the same thing for all programs that we write, right? And even in the local version of R, we need to rewrite. Yeah, you need to rerun the script. But you saved the script, right? So just to rerun it, it just hitting the submit button. End row is going to show me the number of rows, right? Or you can also do dim, D-I-M, that will show you the number of rows and the number of variables. So that's, again, there's more than one way to do this. Let's see. I hit submit. Is it n row or n rows? Well, we'll find out. Oh, here it is, 44. There we go. Yeah. So, isn't that nice? And also, another thing you want to do is, I would recommend adding the comments to the script. And the comment is the hashtag, I think, yeah. Comment. Because when you come back to your script tomorrow, you want to remember what you've done. And let's see how that shows, if the comment will show in the output. I have to save. Save, right? So you want to save it here, and also, just in case, you want to save a copy on your local hard drive. And do submit. Submit. Okay, it did not display the comment. But anyway, comment is a non-executable statement, and it will help you when you come back tomorrow to your code and you want to add something. to it, right? But, all right, speaking of tables, there is also a command call table, and it's going to produce the frequency counts. Yeah. This is useful for the factor variables and character as well. It's going to show me how many times each value appears. Right, so, and yeah. If you want to do the pie chart, for instance, it takes the output. It takes the output from the table command as an input, right? Remember, in R you can nest commands, and also R is case sensitive. That's another thing to keep in mind, right? So I believe most of you had been exposed to R last summer, and I see some familiar names from Data 630, I believe. Yes, I stepped in the middle of the semester, right? So let's see what questions we have. Questions? Questions? I like questions. And here, tables, right? Remember, you can preview your data, right? Now, you also remember when you loaded the data, you got the page. You got the page where it shows the load result. You want to save that page, and you want to explain what the chart shows, right? So there's more than one way to approach this assignment. You can run, I did the association rules, but there is much more that you can do. There is a naive Bayes method, then there is a decision tree method. Perhaps we can predict if the message is going to be positive or negative. The likelihood of the message being positive or negative, that's a naive Bayes. But if you do naive Bayes, you would need to make sure that all your variables are categorical, right? So you would convert characters to the factor, and for the numeric, you're going to run the discretization. Yeah. But also, there is an online documentation for R. That's where you can read a lot about the available functions in the packages. So basically, the key to success when you use R is reading the documentation, taking examples from documentation, adapting examples to your data, right? So questions? I want to see questions here. That's a perfect. Oh, I'm so glad, Bonita, that it helped. Yeah, I enjoy doing WebEx, and I just love doing presentations, and I like questions. Questions are good. All right. So if there are no more questions, we're gonna stop the recording. Oh yes, can you show how we can write a SQL query? Absolutely. We're gonna go to run SQL here. All right. So basically,
Alina,
yeah.
I was looking for writing it from R. You know how you can say paste and then you can put the query and then you can execute it?
Yes, you can. There is more than one way. But my preference.
Yeah, I was getting an error because it was not able to recognize the table.
Oh.
From R, not from here. Here it's clear, but from R.
Oh, because you need to make sure that it's spelled correctly. You want to make sure that the connection is open, right? Because if you look at it in here, if you look at this R script, it's opening up the connection, right? This is important. And also, what you could do is see this in a IBM Knowledge Center. There is an example on how to open the table from the. There is an example in here how to access the table from R. You can do it this way. Sure, there is more than one way. I think it might be doing it here. It's loading into data frame. Yes, you have to load the table into the data frame. This is the best way to do it. You load the table into the data frame right here. I would do it this way. Yeah, but you need to open the connection. How else are you going to do it if the connection is not set up, right? Yeah. Oh, here it is. In database analysis. Here it is. It's showing you how to do it in here. Yeah. You can run IDA query. And also, what you would need to do is, you would need to access that package that I posted an example right here. Oops. If you go back to the classroom, content, yeah, the nice thing about R is, again, more than one way to do it. Right here, there's DB resources, and you want to look up this package right here. Yeah. You want to look this up, and it shows the specific function IDA query, IDA scalar query. So yes, you can utilize this here. Yes. You can do this. But it also depends on your level of experience. So you can do, yeah, but for the queries part, just do the SQL. Well, since some of you asked, we can go in and do the SQL right here. Run SQL. So basically, the query consists of several clauses. Select, from, where, group by, having. The select clause, you specify the columns that you want to pull, and the wildcard star stands for all. From is a table name. So this is mandatory. Every query that you write must have at least select and from clause. The where clause, it restricts what the query returns, right? So I go run. Here it is, but suppose that I'm interested only into specific rows. So I'm just going to say where message location is not null, right? But for your assignment, you may want to do aggregate queries, like what's an average number of posts per gender, perhaps. Something like that. Successful, see? Yeah. So this is a simple query. Does it answer the question? And you can also save the script. But for the deliverable, I need to see the query, I need to see the output, and I need to see the paragraph on what does this query do and why is it helpful. You want to pick something meaningful, right? So perhaps I want to see the number of posts by gender. I want to see the number of posts by location, right? You can do it in SQL and you can do it in R, and you can do the comparison. So it's a matter of being creative. There is more than one way to approach this assignment again. Yep. Questions? Questions? If there are no more questions, then we're going to end the meeting, and I wish you guys good luck. So if you know where to find me, right? If you need a screen share, anything totally does not work, you just shoot me an email and I'll schedule it with you. All right? So if there are no more questions, I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop the recording. Oh, you're the most welcome. It's been my pleasure to do it. So I'm going to do the stop recording.